Cranes are a family, the Gruidae, of large, long-legged, and long-necked birds in the group Gruiformes. The 15 species of cranes are placed in 3 genera, Antigone, Balearica, and Grus. Unlike the similar-looking but unrelated herons, cranes fly with necks outstretched, not pulled-back crane, any of 15 species of tall-wading birds of the family Gruidae. Superficially, cranes resemble herons but usually are larger and have a partly naked head, a heavier bill, more compact plumage, and an elevated hind toe. In flight, the long neck is stretched out in front, the stiltlike legs trailing out behind. Cranes form an ancient group, the earliest fossils having been recovered from Eocene deposits in North America. Living forms are found worldwide except in South America, but populations of many are endangered by hunting and habitat destruction. These graceful terrestrial birds stalk about in marshes and on plains, eating small animals of all sorts as well as grain and grass shoots. 2 olive-gray eggs spotted with brown are laid in a nest of grasses and weed stalks on drier ground in marsh or field. The same nest may be used year after year. The brownish, downy young can run about shortly after hatching. The trachea is simple in the chick but lengthens with age, coiling upon itself like a French horn. It lies buried in the hollow keel of the breastbone and reaches a length of 1.5 meters, 5 feet, in the adult whooping crane. The sandhill crane breeds from Alaska to Hudson Bay. It formerly bred in south-central Canada and the Great Lakes region of the United States but is now rare in these regions. This brownish-gray crane is about 90 to 110 centimeters, 35 to 43 inches, long. Its call is long, harsh, and penetrating. The Florida sandhill crane, a smaller race, breeds in Florida and southern Georgia and is non-migratory. Other subspecies of sandhills are classified as rare or endangered. The common crane breeds in Europe and northern Asia, wintering in large flocks in northern Africa, India, and China. The Australian crane, native companion, or brolga, lives in Australia and southern New Guinea. The demoiselle crane breeds in Algeria, southeastern Europe, and Central Asia. The crowned crane, Balearica pavona, over nearly all of Africa, and the wattled crane in eastern and southern Africa. These birds are omnivores. They can eat both animals and plants. Preferred foods on land include seeds, nuts, acorns, leaves, berries, and fruit. They also eat insects, birds, small reptiles, small mammals, snails and worms. While living in wetlands, they feed on roots, tubers, rhizomes, snails, frogs and small fish. Their diet is highly adaptable according to their location, time of year, and food availability. However, the birds with shorter beaks prefer dry, upland foods and the ones with longer bills prefer wetland foods. These birds are monogamous. This means they have a lifelong mate. They typically find this mate during their 2nd or 3rd year of life. But they do not successfully breed for several years. To attract a mate, young birds perform a mating dance. They flap their wings, bow, jump and throw small sticks or plants. During their first breeding attempts they often fail. Sometimes this period of failure leads to a divorce of the birds to find new mates. As long as they breed successfully, a male and female will stay together in their lifelong pairing. Scientists studied sandhill cranes in Florida. Of these 22 pairs, 7 couples stayed together for 11 years. Of the 15 that did not stay together, just over half of the relationships ended because of one of the birds' death. About 18% of the birds divorced and scientists could not track 29% of the pairs. The birds feeding in wetlands dig for tubers and rhizomes. This requires them to stay in one place for a long period of time as they dig and expand a hole searching for these foods. They also lower their heads and move very slowly forward with their bills probing for insects and small animals. Cranes are a collection of tall bird species with long legs. There are 15 different species of these birds in the world, usually having brown, white or gray coloring. Different species of these birds live across every continent except South America and Antarctica, typically breeding in the north and flying south to warmer climates for the winter. America's largest bird is a whooping crane, standing 5 feet tall and spreading wings up to 7 feet. They are known for being highly social birds that perform elaborate dances to attract lifelong mates. These birds live on all continents except South America and Antarctica. Africa and East Asia have the most variety for these birds living in one region. Africa has 8 species, whereas East Asia has 6 during its peak season. With 15 different species among the broader family of cranes, each type has its own preferred habitat. Most of them need wetlands for their survival, as well as broad, open areas. The majority also nest in the shallows of wetlands, while some nest there but move their chicks to grassy lands for daytime feeding. Only the 2 types of African crowned cranes do not roost in wetlands. Instead, they roost in trees. Not all of these birds migrate with changing seasons. Some are sedentary, which means they stay in one region throughout their year. Of those that fly to warmer weather for winter, many travel thousands of miles to their breeding habitats. Cranes are powerful flyers, with some having the ability to fly over the Himalayas. During migration, cranes fly with their head and neck straight out and their feet and legs straight behind them. They are able to reach heights of 4,900 to 8,000 meters, 16,000 to 26,000 feet. Their migration is so long and hard that many die from fatigue, hunger, or predation from birds of prey. Cranes form lifelong monogamous pair bonds. The mating dance of the crane is spectacular. The birds walk stiffly around each other, with quick steps, wings half spread, alternately leaping high in the air. During this, the cranes bow deeply and stretch. Next, the cranes pick up sticks or blades of grass, throw them in the air, and stab at them with their beak as they come down. Both sexes, mature and immature, take part in the dances. When males and females call in unison, both point their bills to the sky and the male raises part of his wing over his back and joins the female. The 2 birds call back and forth for about 10 seconds. Scientists believe these calls reinforce the monogamous pair bond and also serve to defend their territory.